Right then guys, welcome back to part 3 of our Alpha Models Ferrari 599XX video build. So part 3, the final part of this, we're starting today by masking off all of our windows for our black work. So we've got to mask up around the windows, we've got the spoiler to do, the headlights, and all in and around the front grille as well. So we're using a variety of AZU tapes, primarily 1mm and 2.5mm, and then the 6, 10 and 18mm Tamiya tapes to infill the rest. So just very carefully following the edge of where we need to mask. It's laborious, it's boring, but the better the job you make here, the better it'll look. Now, it's an important step to do on the Alpha model kits because of the acetate windows. Where they fit in place, you will see through them at the side inside and around the edge outside, so it's an important step to do. Now you can do this before 2K if you want, but you'll end up with a glossy window. I prefer to do it afterwards because the way I look at it, the more porous surface of the semi-matte paint allows the CA glue to grip better. So whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I prefer to do it afterwards. So just some careful masking, and then we'll get it in the spray booth, give it a few coats of Mr. Service 1500 black, and we'll be good to go. So it is a bit of a boring job, but it's a job well worth taking your time over. Quite a tricky one to do this, quite a complex window system on this. The headlights are a bit of a nightmare to mask, as too is that boot spoiler, and in and around the front grille is quite challenging as well. So a good couple of hours work here in masking this, but like I say, the more time you take, the better it's going to look. So this spoiler is a bit difficult. There is a demarcation line there, but it's quite difficult to follow. So just be careful with your tweezers, you don't mark your paintwork. Obviously de-tack all your tape, and under the lower edge of the spoiler needs masking too. So just take your time, work your way around slowly until it's all done. I normally do stuff like this in the hangout Zoom call with the guys, just sat there chilling, talking away, listening to music, and that kind of stuff gets done a lot quicker when you're in conversation or having a laugh and a joke, listening to music. So yeah, but there we go. A few hours work later and we're all done. So it's going to burnish it all down, make sure it's all fully sealed before we venture over to primer. So just a few more bits to put on the side. So make sure you tack all the tape, don't put it straight on like I've just done. Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, and just ensure everywhere is covered. Now, you could mask off and spray your interior at the same time. For me, I don't see the point in doing that. You just run the risk of getting paint all over your lovely bodywork, so I brush paint that later on. But we've got some Mr. Service for 1500 black in my Iwata HPC Plus, or CH, it's a CH man, isn't it? And we're at 18 PSI. I'm just going to put a couple of light coats down, building up slowly on all those areas. So make sure you get in and around the pillars on the A, B and C pillar, because you can see this from outside. So we want a nice uniform black colour. And as I say, this is where the acetate windows are going to sit. So I think it's an important step to kind of blend in and hide the white of the bodywork. So just take your time here. And it's at this step that it starts to bring the car alive a little bit. Once you unmask it, it just seems to add instant depth to the car. You think, oh, it looks much better. Because at one point, it's just a monotone block of white, red, blue, whatever you've painted it in. Adding this gives it a bit of depth, a little bit of a distraction to the eye as well. Just makes it look a bit more interesting. It's the start of the journey to the end of the build for me. Because once we're past this, it's pretty plain sailing. Other than the windows, it's pretty plain sailing. So just some nice light coats. Don't flood the paint on. Don't put it on wet as a seep under the masking tape. Once unmasked, we can then paint our interior. So this is some Vallejo model colour black, thinned with a drop of water. I'm just going to very carefully apply it on the interior. So like I say, you could mask and spray this if you wanted. For me, it's just not worth the hassle, so I opted to brush paint it. As you can see, we've got all the exterior masked up. It's masked up pretty perfectly, to be honest. Like I say, the brush paintable Vallejo model colour, thinned with a drop of water, paints very, very nicely. Flows really well. We've got a nice flat brush here as well. Just a cheap sable brush from Amazon. So it works really, really well. Then we've got all of our wheel arches as well. Just very carefully. Now, if you do get any excess, there's a little bit of ridge on the inner wheel arch. So if you get a moistened cotton bud, you can literally just wipe it off. It's that easy to do. And then we'll paint the inside of the wheel arch as well. Like I say, if a moistened cotton bud, we can get that demarcation how we want it. A little bit tricky here because it's got that little winglet on the inside. So I'm just trying to mark a straight line in there because I don't want the paint to go through. Quite lucky that the water-based paint comes off the 2K really easily. And there we go. Like I say, the black really starts to break up the monotone white. Now this part here is one of the carbon fibre intakes for the side. This was supposed to be just a test fit. And once I fitted it, that's it. It was in. I was like, oh, okay, that's staying in there then. So push fitted in, held in with no glue. And then the rear lights on the black, which are just a black light on this. I think it's just got a centre light on the real car. Obviously, it's not a road legal car. There we go. Just pops in place like so. This is a stage where you really start needing to be careful with your CA glues and what have you. Not to get fingerprints and ruin all your hard work on your bodywork. There we go. Mesh grills on the front, so there's a actual PE piece that sits inside first. So technically I didn't really need to mask and spray that bit, which I didn't realise at first. And then this grill piece sits on top. So with some Tamiya Craft Bond, just sparingly added around the edge. We can glue this in place. So yeah, I didn't really need to mask that centre part, well, the outer part of the centre grill. But hey, it's done. So not the end of the world. So like I say, there's a PE backing in there of a grill. And then this clear, well, see-through grill goes on top. The fits really well. The fit is very, very good. Same on the other side as well. And then the headlights. So the headlights are pretty poor on this. Number one, they're not very opaque. They're a bit cloudy. And they don't fit great either. They literally only just fit. The problem with resin is when it's cast, it shrinks afterwards. So I think if they don't allow a degree of shrinkage, the parts get a bit small. And obviously on interior parts and things like that, it doesn't matter that much if they're a millimetre short. On exterior parts like the headlights, it does. So we've gone around this with a Sharpie to imitate the sealant. And then we'll get these glued in place with some Craft Bond again, just strategically placed. This dries pretty much clear. So it's quite safe to use. Don't put tons of it in one spot though. Like I say, it's just a bit of a shame that they don't fit great, the headlights, but it's quite a common problem with these, that the clear parts, full stop, can be a bit of an issue. It's something they definitely need to work on a bit. But they go on, they're held in place, they look okay. Just remember the review actually referred to these as manky fingernails because they didn't look too good. Rear diffuser. Now we've built all this up. There's a few PE parts on this. We've got the exhaust in place and we've got the towing hook going in now as well. So this is a PE part. It's been primed in photo etch primer. So we've still got that grill on back to front on the front of this. I haven't noticed yet. It's only when I go to apply the Ferrari logo I realise that it's reversed. So we're just popping this in with some PVA glue. So thankfully we didn't glue the grill in because it fits in really snug. And we can get this back off. But I will realise later on. And on the rear one, we glued it in place. And we're using some Tamiya Enamel X7 with a cheap mascara brush. A tip picked up from my buddy Brandon Drescher. Thank you, Brandon, for that tip. These little throwaway brushes are fairly cheap on Amazon. And they're great for touch-ups like this, where you just need a quick touch-up. Put that to one side to dry. This thing fits in absolutely beautiful. So I have a couple of dabs of CA glue. Hold it for a second or two. That is that in place. Looking really good. Very impressive diffuser on the back of this. And then the interior. I've been flocked by my wonderful assistant Hannah with some anthracite pro scale flocking. And then we can fit our roll cage. Now the roll cage is a bit of an iffy fit as well. I actually ended up losing a couple of parts of mine trying to fit it in place. So yes, we need to clear out the holes where the roll cage mounts in of flock. And then we can add some CA glue and get this piece glued in. So yeah, the roll cage front sections, very, very tight fit. You're trying to juggle to get all this in. you've got to get the body, the interior tub past the body, then past the dashboard, past the door cards. It just doesn't work at all. So sadly, a couple of pieces snapped off. You can't see them at all once you're in the car, and it was literally a point of no return. Once it was in, I couldn't get it back out. So yes, that's the consequences of these complex kits. They can be a bit of a nightmare. So there's that rear section glued in place. We've got both front sections in. A test fit now, and actually does fit in. There is actually part of a roll bar on the roof as well, and that's where the issue starts, because it kind of clips in place with that. But with the door cards in place and the dashboard, trying to get everything past all these parts, I think it's now impossible. So if you've done it, fair play to you. We've got the instrument panel going in place on the dashboard. The decals going in place. Obviously we carboned this earlier. So we've got the photo etches in there. And then the decal going on top. Like so. We'll burnish that down, get all the moisture out, hit it with a decal solution. And get it set in place. I did not lick that at all. Then we've got our paddle shifter, which is getting white glued onto the back of our steering wheel. Nice steering wheel this. It's got the shifter lights at the top. Very, very nice. That's all been decaled. Got the Ferrari logo in from MSN Creations again, the same ones we put on the wheels. So again, that's looking good. Steering wheel fits in really well. Make sure it's straight. There we go. And then some dabs in there for the very nice alloy footplate to sit in the front of the car. So these are bent as per the instructions. One either side. So you should use some craft bond in there to glue it to the carpet. Nice little touch. Then we got some, I didn't lick that either. I think I'm putting glue in here for all the switch gear. Trying to figure out what I've done. Can't quite see. Now all the switch gear goes in the center console of that column, of that dashboard, sorry. So I've opted to paint everything individually. I've got my optimizer on, a very fine Winsor Newton brush, got my enamel paints and a reference picture of the real car in front of me, as well as instructions which are quite good on this. So we're going to paint all the parts up, let them all dry, then cut them off and pop them in place. So we've got red, silver, there's a blue on there, and the rest of them are black. So fairly simple to do, just some nice detail painting. The Tamiya enamels are ideal for detail painting. You've just got to remember to let them dry a little bit, because they're enamel, they do stay wet for a while. Now, I've opted for Seatbelt Edward seatbelts in this. Now, again, I could do a whole 30-minute video on these, so I opted on this one to not really film much of it, because we're running out of room in the video anyway. They're photo etch, they go together relatively simply. I will do a standalone video showing these being assembled. The first time I used them, I've dismissed them in the past. But actually having a go at doing them, they're quite good, and I ended up buying another few sets of them, so we've got quite a lot in the stash there. They actually look really well. They went together pretty easy as well. So like I say, I will do a separate video on these, but for today, that's all you're going to see. All the switchgear being held in place using our reference pictures. We've got some of the craft bond in there to hold it in. We don't need anything really aggressive to hold these pieces in, but very fiddly to do. So take your time here. There's a multitude of teeny tiny little switch gears. So I'm just putting the smallest dab of glue in the holes. Or the biggest dab in that one. There's quite a lot of glue really. There you go, too much, yes, well done Paul. There we go. So very small switches. My big head's in the way, apologies. There we go. Fiddly, this is where the Tamiya optimizer comes in to its own. Dashboard's in place. It's in 3 pieces this, so it's all glued together. I think this one was 3, or was this one 2? I'm losing track of the builds now. Anyways, in a multitude of parts, all glued together. Door cards held in with the Tamiya craft bond, which shows you how good this stuff is. that a few splodges of this has got enough purchase on it to hold the door card in while I turn it upside down. So really good stuff, this craft bond. And obviously if it's not in the right place, I can take it back out because it takes quite a while to dry. So didn't lick that cotton bud either. I'm just wiping off the excess glue. Then we can spin it around, as you see, it holds it in place. It's good stuff, this craft bond. I highly recommend getting it. It's just an instant grab purchase PVA glue. Very, very good. So again, get it in, get the door card. Very plain door cards on this. There we go, push it down, wipe off the excess glue. There we go. And then there's all our seat belts in place. They look great. They are really, really good. Seats are glued in. Yep, they're looking good. So I've got some pictures of them here. So I really like these. I've dismissed them before. I didn't like them the first time I've seen them. Hannah's flocking is absolutely fantastic. She's done a great job there as well. But the seat belts look really good. Nice interior on this one, actually. Actually quite a nice interior. So slotting this in. Trying to get everything past the door cards, the dashboard, a little bit of a nightmare. So I tried to persevere as good as I could, but I just can't see how you're going to get that all in past each other. And when I pushed it in, it broke a couple of bits off, which you can see on the bench to the top left. So just one of those things. It's in, it's not coming back out. So that is it. It can't be seen from the outside, so it's not a problem. We've got my Herzo drill, and we're drilling the right size holes for the screws. Now, for the love of God, make sure you don't drill right through the body here. Make sure the drill bit size you're drilling isn't too big for the screws and isn't too small either. You should be able to screw the screws in without any massive resistance. If you feel any resistance at all, take it back out and drill the hole a little bit bigger. So we'll screw all of those in place. Just double checking everything. The resin dust gets everywhere. I would recommend wearing a dust mask for doing this as well. There we go. And then slotted under the diffuser at the back, we can screw this in at the top as well. So good fitting under tray. No detail on it at all. It's a flat bottom car. That rear diffuser is looking good. There we go. And then wheels. So we assembled all these in part 2, I think it was. So we know they all fit in the right place. So it's a case of just getting them in the right place, getting a bit of glue and gluing them in. We've already done the hard work. Make sure your calipers are facing the right way. You've got the right wheels on the front and back. And then just put a generous amount of CA glue on the edge and inside where the little locator key goes. And then line it up, push it in place, make sure it's straight. Just hold for a second or two, let the CA glue grab it. Same for the front. Make sure the caliper's facing the right direction and it's on the right angle. I think they are angled on this one slightly. And then the other side as well. And there we go. The stance on this car is absolutely beautiful. Sits absolutely perfect. We then got the front splitter, which is going in. Some dabs of CA glue to hold it in place. The satin carbon looks great. Really does. It looks good against the high gloss finish. It complements the high gloss, I think. A little better shot, I do apologise, but there we go. That's that glued in place. Hold it for a second or two, let the CA glue grab it. And then we've got our grill, which we're taking out, resprayed, bended the right way, and then we're going to pop it in place. This thing lets you hold itself in, it fits in there perfect. There we go. Then we can paint our towing eye, or towing hook rather. There we go. And then the glass. So Bob Smith's gold black lid. This is the non-fogging variety. Put dots all around the screen on the inside and then spread them out a bit with your cocktail stick. And then get the glass in. Get one edge down. Get the other one lined up. Hold it. And it's a case of keeping the corners pushed in and burnish it down. Again, you've seen me do this many times now, so you're not new to seeing this. Some tricky parts on the glass of this. The bottom part of this windscreen was very, very reluctant to stay stuck down. I had to hold it for quite some time, so patience required on this one. But just persevere, keep burnishing it down. These cheap pointed cotton buds from Amazon are perfect. Make sure you got your screen the right way around. You want the acetate side up. So I always put a piece of masking tape on the outermost side when it's on its backing paper. And you can use that as a handle, and you know this is the right way. There's a protective piece of plastic on the top of this screen. So when you peel it off later, there'll be no damage to it at all. After a bit of burnishing, a little bit of holding, the front screen is finally glued in place. So probably one of the most daunting aspects of these kits is this glass. It is a bit of a pain. Some fit really well. This one is a bit of a nightmare on the side and rear window, more so the sides, because they curve round. You need to tackle it in 2 stages. So I would glue the front first, like I'm doing here. You don't want a lot of CA glue at all. Just enough to get purchase on the plastic. So apply at the front and the middle. And then we'll get our glass. Just going to put a little bit more there. Do not want a lot of this at all. Just in strategic points where you know you can glue it. Then get our clear piece. Get it in place, get it lined up properly. Now there is a hole in the front of the screen where the mirror goes. It needs to line up with the body. And I'll just concentrate on burnishing the edge down. And then when that's on, put a bit of CA glue on the back piece, angle it round and hit it with a little tiny bit of kicker on a micro brush, just a little bit. Otherwise you will be there all day holding it. It just will simply not grab without kicker. So just dab a kicker on it. You don't need a lot at all. Tiniest little bit on the brush. I've done a second application. If you noticed, I dipped it in and wiped it off on my shirt, and there we go. That's held down in place. So repeat that for the other side, and then the back window just sits on top, exactly the same as the front one. We've got some MSN Ferrari badges for the side again, the shields. Love these things, they are fantastic. They're a bit more difficult to get at the minute. I don't know if they're out of production or the supply issues, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. There we go. That's looking good. And probably the most satisfying part of this, peeling off this acetate cover. So a little bit of a blade under the edge. Carefully feed it back on itself. Don't lift it up, you'll pull the screen off. And hopefully you've got no glue marks or damage to the glass. Yeah, it's a very satisfying point this. There we go, there's all 4 off. The glass is looking really good. And then for the rear winglets, we're going to use some craft bond for this. So I put a little dab on the top piece, and then I put quite a big dab on the bottom of it, which is going to splurge out where we want it. So it's a case of holding the top, get the bottom piece lined up by pulling it in and out so we're happy. Basically, you want to pull it out so it just covers the location holes that were there for the plugs, and then lick a cotton bud. I admit it, I did lick that one, and wipe off the excess glue. Hold it in place and then go around the back and get the excess glue out the back. And exactly the same on the other side. And don't worry if you don't get all this off now. It will literally just peel off later. But this was more than enough to hold this in place. This craft bond glue is very good. Very good gluing capabilities. And there we go. There's our little winglets in place. Like I say, just hold everything and just gently remove all the excess glue. And then we've got our door mirrors, which again got some craft bond in. And they just slide in place in the little hole between the window and the resin. Same on the other side. Careful you don't snap them, they are quite delicate. And then the awful window wipers. Used to hate making these, now I hate putting them in place. A dab of proper CA glue on them, get them in place. line them up, and then leave them the hell alone. Don't touch the car, don't do a thing. Because if you knock them off, it'll drive you potty trying to put them back on. So just get it unglued in place, let it sit naturally at one sit, and then push it up slowly until it's glued in place, and leave it alone. Now, the bonnet pins that came with this, I didn't like the look of them at all on the real car. They're like an anodized red, and it just didn't look right. So I got some aero fasteners at my own stash, painted them black, a little bit of craft bond on there, and a moistened pointed cotton bud. We can apply these in place, and I think these look a lot better than the standard kind of bonnet pins. They do come with the kit, the other ones. These are my own aftermarket ones, I think from Scale Production, I think they were. But for me, on this car, with the scheme I've got, I like the fact that they're black. For a start, they blend in well with the black and white scheme. And I just think they look a bit better than the actual pins. So there's 2 on the very front of the bonnet, 2 on the back, 2 on the boot lid at the front, and 2 at the boot lid on the back as well. So just a little bit of craft bond to hold these in place, make sure they're all orientated the right way, and that they're all pointing at the right angle. And then just the 2 on the boot lid. There we go. And then the final touch is the door handles. So these are supposed to be white. I thought I'd go with the black theme and did them black. So I like the way it breaks up the side of the door a little bit. I think it's a nice touch. Both of those are on. And then a final polish up of some UMP Shine on my microfiber cloth. We've got the Ferrari logo badge on the back and the front as well. We used the kit one on the back and another MSN Creation rectangular one on the front. And this thing is looking spectacular. Shines like a diamond, looks absolutely beautiful. Really love the black and white nature of the car. We've got the fuel filler cap on now as well. Looks absolutely stunning, this. Not the best model from Alpha Models. For a brand new kit, it's got quite a few flaws on it. But as a good looking car, this thing is... that's a pretty car. It is very, very nice. I'm very, very happy with this on the polish job on it. Absolutely phenomenal. Pearl paint, lovely. Very nice with the satin carbon fibre as well. And the seat belts inside look fabulous as well. Really happy with this build. This one turned out great. Like I say, not a perfect kit. It does have its problems, but overall, very, very enjoyable build. And yeah, I would recommend if you want to get one, definitely get one. It's a very unique car, this one. So some pictures. So this was primed in Pro Scale White Primer. It was painted in Pro Scale Bianco Fiji Pearl from Ferrari. The kit decals went on, absolutely brilliant. It was given a dark grey Tamiya panel line wash. We cleared it with the Pro Scale 2K system, which worked fantastic as always. Wheels are Pro Scale gunmetal, discs are Pro Scale carbon ceramic. Calipers are LP5 with Mr. Hobby Super Clear over the top. Interior was flocked in anthracite Pro Scale flocking. It was done in Napa black leather on the interior with the carbon accents as well. All the black trim on the exterior is painted with with Mr. Servicer 1500 black. Kit carbon on all the exterior went down absolutely brilliant, and that was satin coated with Mr. Hobby Satin Clear. And it was all polished and flatted back with the 3M 6 and 8000 pads, and polished up with the Menzerna compounds and autoglue polished with the rotary tool. Fantastic. Let's go back to me for some final thoughts. There we go, all done. What else can I say? Well, like I say, it's a good kit. It's got some problems. The bodywork's not the best. There's a few flaws in the bodywork. It's easily sorted. It just shouldn't be like that. It should be pretty perfect out of the box. But with a little bit of modelling skills, we can sort it out. The glass is a bit of a pain on the backside. The side windows especially, getting those rolled over the back is a bit troublesome. Headlights aren't great. Other than that, though, the roll cage is a bit of a problem. Other than that, great kit, went together with no issues, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Great looking car. That Bianco Fiji Pearl White looks absolutely stunning. First time using one of our 2-part paints, and it just looks absolutely amazing. I love the black and white tone of this car. I think the gunmetal wheels really set it off, and yeah, very happy with this one. It turned out really, really well. So yes, there's another one off the bench. It's my third build of the year this year, so very happy to get that one done. So on to the next one, which is a Alpha Models RX-7 feed, and then it will be a Nissan R33 400R. Yes, there's a JDM build on the go at the minute, and yeah, I'm on a kind of a JDM kind of thing at the minute, so yeah, stay tuned on that one. But there we go. As always, you want to get exclusive perks for being a patron. You can join down below. You get early access to all the videos by a month. There's a Facebook exclusive chat group where you can be added to that. You get a Saturday at the bench update as well, exclusively for patrons every week. There's other perks as well as just being able to keep me doing these videos. Without the support of the patrons, I couldn't do this. So there's links down there for that. Become a patron for a month and cancel if you want, just to have a look around, or you continue support. And it starts from like £3.50 a month. There's also links to everything else down there. Pro Scale Paints, the Off-Air Hangout group, ISM, my scale mates. There's me email address to get in touch with me should you want. And there's all the products I use, the link down there. There's everything in that description of the video. And obviously, of course, make sure you sub to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, click that bell notification, and leave a comment. I love reading all your comments. I might not answer them all, but I do love reading them all. Thank you for all your feedback. If you built the kit, if you're thinking of getting the kit, let me know. What do you think of the build? And that's it. So thanks very much for watching today. As always, thank you to my wonderful patrons. Your name's going to flash up on screen at the end of this video. And I will catch you all next time. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye.